Hi, ladies. Welcome to Newsletter 12 bonus video. This is actually week 5 in the Playful Power series. And a reminder to any of you who are tuning in towards the end of the series, this came about as a result of I used to teach exotic dancing in a circuit once a month, Philadelphia, Dallas, and then Gold's Gym in LA. That was back in my 20s, mid 20s. And that came about because I took a class from an exotic dance instructor who had 23 years of experience. I had been raised as a Mennonite in central Pennsylvania, took her class because I had moved to Philadelphia and I was going through culture shock. First job, away from home, but very uncomfortable with other women's sexuality. So low-cut shirts, short skirts, billboards of strippers that I would drive by on my way to work. Scenes in movies, because this was the 90s, late 90s, scenes in movies of strip clubs, which it was the obligatory scene in movies of the time. I would shrink and I would feel less than. So I took this class. The very first class, she said, it's okay to move your body in any way you want to move your body. And I started crying because I felt like, wow, this is exactly what I would want my mother to have told me. Because it was such a universal truth. It was so, there was no denying it. So hear me now. It's okay to move your body in any way you want to move your body. Anybody who's ever waggled their finger at you and told you it was bad or wrong, they don't get it. And they were scared or trying to control you. So this is a result of realizing that woman knew something that ordinary women don't know. Fast forward to today. I'm now 54, have 3 grown kids, 2 of which are girls. And I've seen that me being comfortable with my body has translated into them being comfortable with their body. So it's pretty amazing stuff. Like, you can stop the body shame process and not pass it down. And if you already didn't know how to do this with your own child, you got grandkids that are probably coming. Either way, it improves your life in all realms anyway. It's not just about passing it on to your children or not. Body shame affects us in every area of our life, whether we're speaking up for our own rights, if we're advocates for ourselves or others. So here we go. Without much more ado, we are in week 5, the TRU process, which is tell your truth, reflect the energy that comes back to you. And if that energy is safe, then you can unite play with power, because playful power is really the only way women are allowed to be powerful in this realm. Really, we're only allowed to be childlike. So this is our little way to work that loophole. So what do I mean by truth? Tell your truth. If you read the newsletter, women are powerful, period. We create life. We sustain life. We protect the vulnerable. We just do. We have inner fortitude that is through the roof. You know, not everyone. You can always argue, not everyone, not all men, not all women. Like, okay, on a grand scheme, women are powerful, period. And that is why systems have been built to protect a lot of egos who were afraid to admit that. So what happened to me is I took this exotic dance class. I started to feel really amazing in my life. And I was moving up the ladder in my career with the American Red Cross as well. But at the same time, I met a man who acted as though what I was doing was okay. I was doing this while we were dating. At our second date, I said, hey, go home tonight and watch Philly After Midnight. I'm on this program, because we were interviewed about this instructional video that we made about exotic dancing for everyday women. Kept his mouth completely closed. Whirlwind romance. I thought he was dreamboat, my guy. And we did have 3 great kids together. So Not going to trash him too much. But as far as me and accepting me for who I was, despite me being right there out in the open with who I was while we were dating, once we got married, he said, what you're doing is not acceptable for a wife and a future mother. And I caved because I was raised with the you do what your man tells you to do. And I wanted the relationship to work. And I knew that ultimately what I really wanted was children. So I caved because I knew I had found this newfound power within myself, but I hadn't known how to apply it yet. How to be selective in who I was choosing in a mate. How to take audacious action when it meant changing the course of things for me. I didn't know how to stand up for myself and speak up and out about what I needed and wanted. Long story short, it became more and more coercive, more and more oppressive. By the third child, I just couldn't take it anymore. A release valve for me was that I ended up having an affair with a person who made me feel safe because I no longer felt safe in my house. Not proud of that, but it happened. So, and it happened after I had tried to leave two other times on my own. I think I subconsciously knew I needed to blow things up. Well, sadly, when you're with that kind of person, they will use everything and anything against you. And he insists that divorce is not an option. So 15 years later, we were only married 8 years. 15 years later, I am still married to this man because he has used the legal system to keep us married. Doesn't matter. I'm happy. I'm free. I'm whole. Do I want to be divorced? Absolutely. But it's given me a lot of freedom too. So that's for another discussion. Let's do true. So where I was going with that is you can see how it's hard for me now that I've taken that class to not be powerful. And despite giving up it was a hobby at the time because I was still working as a lab scientist. Besides giving up my hobby of teaching other women to feel great in their own bodies, I still caved within a relationship. So here I am at 54 telling you that I've learned through time that these same movements were what saved me, gave me sanity through that entire process, because in ugly divorces, you get accused of things you've never done. I just admitted what I did do. But other things, it's been a crazy making, gaslighting whole scenario. And that right there is what most of being a woman is like. Honestly, it's most of what being a man is like too. We live in a world that doesn't tell us the truth, but we're going to learn how to find that truth and to stay in it. So you've noticed I've been crouching. If you read the newsletter, this is one of our survival skills that then ultimately start to transition us into thriving. Okay. I taught you in the very first week of Playful Power how, when you feel like you're actually going to have a panic attack, to create a triangle with your body, because it's when your world gets rocked. So a triangle here, here, here. You're creating a protective womb for a protective spot for your solar plexus, really, your heart, your womb, all of this. Well, the crouch is the next phase of that, because you're doing the same thing, but you're now doing it with your heart and mind and everything in alignment and connected, and you're scanning the room. So I want you to get used to this feeling, because this is what I gave up when he said, what you're doing is not acceptable for a wife and a future mother. I just crumbled. I didn't have this kind of inner fortitude. So obviously, our bodies know a lot more than our language allows us to express. That's part of the reason women get so frustrated, because we don't have a language around how we feel. So the crouch reminds you of your own inner fortitude. The fact that you are a walking womb. You have a womb, but you can also create that sense around you. So get into the crouch and feel that. You start to feel stable. You start, if your knees hurt, if you have other issues, you can do it in a chair. The key is to just make yourself feel encompassed, like you're the seed in the ground. You haven't yet emerged, but you're cozy, you're taking care of yourself, you're protected. Okay? Now we can't walk around in a crouched position. So how does this translate into the world? Okay. So when you walk into a room, it's perfectly okay to not walk right into the middle and announce yourself. You could be on the side. And so now that I've done the crouching move, I can feel myself generate that same sort of protection. And I scan and I look around the room. And if you take a moment to be this way when you enter a room, it usually becomes quite obvious who's pretending and who's being truthful. Just notice it. So your truth that you're transmitting right now is, I'm safe, I'm comfortable. Even if you're not, there's skills I teach you, 3 words that you should be telling yourself so that you actually are transmitting a more open atmosphere, a more open signal rather than just safety. Which takes us into, read the newsletter, takes us into the second movement. Because once your energy is gathered and you feel comfortable, you need to interact with the world. And you need to do it in a truthful way. And the more authentic you become with yourself, the more that transmission can be potent, for lack of a better word. You're not going to approach people with confusion. And I know this is a lot more talking than other bonus videos, and I'm sorry about that, but you feel safe and secure. You move into a room. You use your 3 A's of effectiveness. For me, it was always, I'm enthusiastic, I'm resourceful, and I'm courageous. Okay, now I've got my inner and external aligned. Now I'm ready to go interact with people. So in the class, we would learn, after we learned our step, drag, walk, the exotic dancing, we then learned pushing and pulling energy. And it was it's an odd thing. We would do it in the mirror to ourselves. And I highly recommend doing all of this, both the crouching. I mean, you can crouch and look at yourself in the eyes, very important. But even more so this, the walking, the eye contact, looking at yourself. But for today's, what we're doing is pushing and pulling energy. What that really means, when you're trying to be alluring, it was like, come here, baby, that kind of a movement. It was like how comfortable is he with what you're doing? Can you lure him in? Do you have to back off? Do you have to get closer? Can you flirt? Can you say, you want this, you want this? That's the way the exotic dance class was meant to be. But in real life, it's still about, okay, I'm approaching you. How comfortable are you with me? You can practice this, like I said, to yourself in the mirror. Hi, hello. Like, you can see how timid that seems. So I had a trick that I learned when I was teaching the exotic dancing. I called it the hook and grab. And it was to make yourself look like, oh, we might be at the point where these are coming down. And clearly that's attention getting, okay? That's the point. You can only get to the truth of the matter if you've got someone's attention and you are reflecting your truth out, because then their truth becomes unbelievably undeniable. So, no, we're not going to walk around doing that either. But what that taught me was that this is your power source when it comes to truth, your umbilicus. It's also why we as women pack on extra weight there, right? We're scared of people to actually see our truth. But I want you to pretend that you have a beam of light. So we've brought the beam of light down to from the universe down into our heart. Through the crouch, we've realized, okay, I'm safe, even though I am a bright light in this world, and the world likes to squelch or squash or dim those lights. It's fun for them. They like to steal the light from other people instead of working hard. But we worked hard for our light. We're going to keep it. And the way that it comes out is through here. Okay? So when you're communicating with other people, I don't want you to be scared, timid. I want you to have this area open, facing right at them as you're talking. And it doesn't have to be obvious, like boom, boom, boom. But I do want you to be aware of it, that it's okay to put your hands behind if you need them to be comfortable with you having a stance that's face to face with them. It's okay to do this, but most of the time, if you can, hi, yes, my name's Tammy, and yours is, oh, it's a pleasure to meet you, blah, blah, blah. Open, shoulders open, mind open, putting yourself out there. This is a way of saying, I am comfortable being in this space, and I am confident with who I am. Who are you? And you will be able to learn to detect if someone's fidgeting, if they're the ones that end up doing this kind of stuff, if they're the ones like, well, yeah, right, I want to go, zero interest in you, not engaging with you, then you back off. You go do something else. Protect, preserve your energy. Now, if they also face you and they're asking things about you and they're actually engaging, so you've got your flow that's going because you're in a safe space, and now you're starting to detect their flow, like you're like, oh, there may be actually something here. That's when you can start to be playful, and you do allow your own power to be shown. But again, they might just be good at being charismatic. So you can say things like, oh, yeah, I love when I've got the whole afternoon to myself to just to write creatively because I want to publish a book one day. If they go, like, really? That's like, it's ridiculous. Like, women don't write books. Like, you'll literally pick up that kind of a, like, dismissive energy from people. That is a clear sign. Thank you very much. I'm going to close up my shop. I'm going to close up my energy, preserve it, and move on. It's how you learn to start being selective with your energy, not giving attention to people who would not reciprocate in some way. So this is the way that we push and pull energy as we practice. But out in the world, it often comes with a conversation and body positioning. So, so for this week, yes, practice in the mirror, saying your truth. I am powerful. I'm powerful. Women are powerful. I'm powerful. It's nice to not dim myself. Start getting comfortable with that, because you're learning to reflect your own truth. You are powerful. And by saying women are powerful, you're not diminishing the power of men either. It's a win-win, because you need two whole individuals to come together to actually have that good sharing dynamic that we want. Sharing and caring, passion and compassion, passion and compassion, passion and compassion that you need for unity and harmony. Exactly the things that the world does not want you to have. Now, had I been smart enough to understand this stuff before I got married, I would have been able to detect some things, because the signs were definitely there. But I told you before, I valued a family above everything else, and I let that blind me. So this week, we'll get more into the uniting plan power. I'm not leaving that last step behind. But the main thing for you to learn with this lesson this week is how to reflect your own truth, which is you are powerful, by first getting safe in your own body, then learning how to project that outward, and then seeing what comes back. Because when you're doing the reflection in the mirror, you might realize that what comes back to you is just a whole lot of criticism. So you may have a few weeks of work with yourself in the mirror just to get over your own criticism before you even feel comfortable getting out into the world to try this. But the key, keep your body open, this area open. Always think about a white light coming down and cleansing your body. And when you're ready to move out into the world, that same white light is what's going to reach out and start to sense or read the energy in the room. You can take all of this feminine energy mechanics and incorporate it, or not, because I'm just a girl. Till next week, be free, be happy.